Relieve, respond, revive. WSFL-TV presents The Rebound, South Florida.
It's not fair, and it will destroy the backbone of affordable housing in the United States.
While millions are struggling to pay their rent, landlords are also struggling to pay the bills. The option some say could help them and their tenants. We're taking a closer look at how COVID-19 is expected to impact flu season in the Sunshine State. The reason doctors are cautiously optimistic, but the one thing they still want you to hear tonight.
Looking at him and what he got done for the Guatemalan community, it's impressive. It's like great, and I don't have words for that.
Recognizing those who are giving back to their communities. We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at WSFL-TV. How one man's mission has helped hundreds of thousands of families. The Rebound South Florida starts right now.
The number of people unable to pay rent is going up, and now landlords across the country are sounding the alarm, saying many of them are everyday people who are now struggling to pay their bills. Here's one landlord's story, along with a solution he believes could help both landlords and tenants.
Jerry Cheslow and his wife have spent the last 25 years slowly acquiring a handful of properties in New Jersey. Each property an affordable home for another family, and the Cheslow's version of a pension plan.
I wanted them to provide retirement for my wife and myself.
The Cheslows put much of their savings into each property, and now eviction moratoriums have put much of what they've worked for at risk.
When the eviction moratorium went into place, I saw it as extremely temporary. I thought 2 months and it's gone. And 2 months was something that I could weather.
But it's been 6 months, and Cheslow is not receiving rent from 3 out of his 8 properties. One tenant has not paid since the first moratorium went into place in March.
How concerned am I? I'm very concerned because this was supposed to be my retirement, and suddenly it begins to unravel. Me and so many other landlords like me, we are being forced to carry the weight of everybody's living expenses on our backs.
For a 72-year-old who was about to retire this year, it's too much.
This was supposed to be part of my retirement, and right now it's a drain. And it's not fair. It's not fair, and it will destroy the backbone of affordable housing in the United States.
Brookings Institute estimates that individual small property owners like Cheslow own 40% of all residential rentals in the U.S. More than half of these landlords entered the pandemic without enough saved up money to pay mortgages in a situation like a pandemic.
There really needs to be some form of direct rental assistance, both to get these tenants out from under the huge debts that are accruing for not paying rent over several months, and to also pay the landlords.
Derek Reed is a New Jersey lawyer who represents small and large property owners in the state. He's been advocating for Congress to fund the eviction moratorium with stimulus money for rent. But just this week, President Trump ordered his negotiators to halt all talks over a new stimulus bill.
Well, when you're not talking about it, it's real people. It's real people. It's people who don't have food, don't have enough to live, and it's housing providers who may not have enough to pay the mortgages, or may not have enough to keep properties that they've worked 25 years to acquire.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
New data is showing a dramatic rise in COVID-19 related scams that's resulted in hundreds of thousands of Americans losing millions of dollars. Despite all the different kinds of scams out there are things you can do to avoid falling victim to one. Millions of Americans are either at home trying to figure out how to pay their mounting bills or out looking for work while worried about exposure to a deadly virus. The troubling state of society is proving beneficial to one particular group, scammers.
It makes sense that Americans are feeling that kind of economic and financial pressure. It's just really terrible that scammers are taking advantage of that.
Lucy Baker is with the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, a watchdog organization based in D.C. that's been tracking COVID-19 related scams since May. In May, it found around 50,000 COVID-19 scams had been reported in the FTC's database. Last month, it jumped to over 200,000.
Companies that are pretending to sell cures or prevention, even PPE, flyers in the mail that say coronavirus relief. And when you go to the business, it's actually a used car dealership.
The average most victims lost was $300, but that number doubles for victims 80 years and older. So organizations like the Department of Justice and the AARP have put out top tips to avoid falling for a COVID-19 scam.
My biggest tip is really to do your homework. If you receive any kind of communication that seems off, smells fishy, is too good to be true, like it probably is. My second tip would be, again, to be vigilant. The more you're aware that something like this could happen to you, the more likely you are to be able to stop it.
Lastly, most organizations recommend if you fall victim to a scam, report it, regardless of how much money was lost or how embarrassed you may feel. It's what authorities need to find and stop a scammer.
Here's what's next on the Rebound South Florida. Right now, some companies are hiring for the holiday season. How a temporary position may be the way into a great company. While Florida continues to rebound from the pandemic, there's another concern: flu season. Will COVID-19 make a big impact? The reason doctors are cautiously optimistic.
Tonight, Florida doctors are cautiously optimistic about this year's flu season, but warn about a double dose of infection. I'm getting answers on what you and your family need to know right now.
It's flu season.
I try to get everyone to get their flu shots every year.
Have you gotten a flu shot this year? I haven't yet.
Add in an ongoing global health crisis.
I'm curious how the COVID is going to be during the flu season.
Actually, we're all wondering how the coronavirus will impact flu season this year.
You don't predict flu seasons other than saying there will be a flu season.
It's a great question, and it is something that we are talking a lot about in the hospital.
We sought answers from 2 Florida MDs and medical academics.
I think it's all about not letting our guard down.
Dr. Marissa Levine is a public health expert and professor at the University of South Florida.
In Florida, we actually see flu all year round.
Dr. Nicole Iovine is an associate professor and chief epidemiologist at the University of Florida Shands Hospital. Both are cautiously optimistic this year's flu season could be one for the record books.
Could we be looking at a historically low flu season, specifically here in Florida?
We could. I'd hate to predict and say definitively that's going to happen, but we have the potential.
It all depends on human behavior, right? Which is the big black box.
These doctors say less travel, more masks, and social distancing to ward off COVID-19 will likely also lower your risk of the flu. But more telling, what just happened during peak flu season on the other side of the world.
Places like Australia had really maybe not just a mild, but an absent flu season.
Still, these Florida doctors say we all have reason to remain concerned.
There's no reason why COVID and influenza couldn't infect the same person at the same time. And I can tell you that is not going to be a good situation.
Last year, the flu killed just under 3,000 people in Florida. This year, COVID-19 has already taken the lives of more than 15,000 in the state.
It is extremely worrisome. This is really unprecedented times. So we're very, very concerned about the combination of flu and coronavirus.
That's why doctors say the best way to protect yourself is to wear your mask, keep your distance, and for the flu, make sure to get your flu shot. Katie LeGrone, back to you.
Helping South Floridians get back to work, a law firm is hoping to hire several employees. The types of positions they're looking to fill. Next on the Rebound South Florida. Getting through this with stories to help get back on track as we rebound in South Florida.
With millions of workers looking for a job, competition for full-time employment can be fierce. But lots of companies are hiring. They're hiring for the holidays, and that seasonal work can be your foot in the door. Here's how to turn a seasonal gig into a permanent job. It's that time of year in industries all over. The work is piling up. With the holidays coming, Amazon's hiring 100,000 new associates. UPS, 100,000. FedEx, 70,000. Accounting is bracing for end-of-year taxes, and Human Resources is prepping for open enrollment, and they can all use a hand. But many of these jobs are seasonal, and they'll go away after a few months, but some can turn it into a permanent position.
It totally depends on your work ethic.
Trisha Plovey is Senior Regional Vice President with Robert Half, a staffing agency. She's based in Oakland County. Plovey says to turn a short-term assignment into a permanent job, apply early. Be prepared to ace the interview, and then make your intentions known.
And letting them know that, while you're willing to accept, temporary or seasonal work, your goal is to, hopefully get a permanent job with their organization.
Of course, then you have to back it up. Treat the whole assignment as a continuous interview. Punctuality and attendance are critical. But to stand out from the crowd, raise your hand. Ask for extra work when you're done with your current task. That'll give you a leg up on the competition. Plovey says, also, observe the written and unwritten rules of the culture and nurture relationships with your coworkers.
That's critical too, because you want alliances in that organization. You want people to, recommend you if a permanent role comes open.
And don't lose hope if you still haven't latched on by the end of the assignment. If you've been a standout employee, you still have a chance.
Maybe they are hiring for something else in their company. And by you asking about those other opportunities, it could open some other doors.
And if you do separate from the company, leave on good terms. Hiring is always a gamble, but as a known quantity, you'll be much less of a risk. And don't forget, keep in touch with your manager and HR.
And it'll show them how much you care about that employer and the work that you did and that you want to be a part of that. And they'll keep you in mind.
Those are some of the do's. Here are some of the don'ts. Don't approach this with the mentality of a short-timer, and don't just do the bare minimum. You're trying to impress. You're trying to get a full-time job. And never, ever look for your next gig while you're at work.
In addition to seasonal work, there are companies currently hiring full-time employees in South Florida, including one law firm with several different locations.
Kelly Cronenberg has been around for 40 years and is continuing to grow across the U.S.
Workers' compensation firm, but slowly built the portfolio of law practices that we have, and we're currently proud to have over 20 different law practices. The majority of our work is in insurance defense and workers' compensation.
The firm serves all types of public and private companies, including small businesses and individuals nationwide. With nearly 400 employees, Kelly Cronenberg is looking to expand all of their in-house practice areas and administrative teams.
We have around 20 open positions, and they include attorney positions with a wide range of from entry level associates up until experienced partners or business unit leaders. We are looking for attorneys throughout the state of Florida. And we also have positions in support roles such as legal assistants, paralegals, certain positions within our accounting department.
It's been almost 2 weeks since Raymond started as the Chief Information Officer at Kelly Cronenberg, and he says he already feels at home. In his previous job, he says COVID cut his salary by 5%. Not a reason why he left that company, but he says he's happy he took on this new opportunity.
The team here is phenomenal. Everybody is excited. And I do think, credit to the shareholders, Michael, Heath, and Howard, for kind of permeating that culture from the top down, and Barbara and our HR department for kind of keeping that centric to all the employees in terms of, hey, the culture here, we're a team, we're committed, we're strong.
Raymond offers some advice for candidates that get called for the first round of virtual interviews.
Just be yourself. Right? Like the firm, the culture of the firm, we're trying to bring people in that we can be honest and open with everybody. So just try to be as personable as possible.
There are several Kelly Cronenberg locations in Florida, including 4 in South Florida. To find a location near you and to see what positions are available, we have a link on our website. Just go to WSFLTV.com and click Rebound.
Looking at him and what he got done for the Guatemalan community, it's impressive. It's like great, and I don't have words for that.
Recognizing those who are giving back to their communities. we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at WSFL TV. How one man's mission has helped hundreds of thousands of families.
It's the last day of Hispanic Heritage Month. Each week, we've been recognizing people in our community who've impacted the lives of Latinos in South Florida. A nonprofit organization based out of Lake Worth has been serving families throughout the state for decades. The Guatemalan Maya Center has helped hundreds of thousands of families.
But he's been always telling me that wherever I go to, wherever I decide to do, that God is always with me. No matter where I am, God is always with me. And by having God by me, it's like nothing is impossible.
Ernesto Juan Ramirez and his family moved to the U.S. in 2015.
I decided to come here because Guatemala, you have problems like you're not safe.
Ernesto says the nonprofit helped his mother learn how to use a computer and get necessities like clothes and food.
They start helping her with doing the application for the food stamps, Medicare for my sister, and then they start giving me she asked for shoes or clothing for me and for my sister, and some for her too, if it was possible. And they never deny anything to her.
These are the accounts of all of the people who were assassinated by the Guatemalan military when they attacked the Mayan Indian population of Guatemala. And that's when the first Guatemalans came to South Florida in 1980.
That's where Father Frank's commitment to helping Mayan migrant workers started. In 1992, Father Frank founded the Guatemalan Maya Center to address the dire need for prenatal care for indigenous women in Palm Beach County. Over the years, the programs have grown to support the emerging needs of the communities throughout Florida. They serve over 1,000 families each month from over 28 different countries.
It's very hard to say that immigrants are successful. They're not. In terms of, they leave the places where they were most valued. They leave the places where they were known to be of some consequence. They come to a place where they're not valued. People lay down their lives for their children.
Looking at him and what he got done for the Guatemalan community, it's impressive. It's like great, and I don't have words for that.
The nonprofit offers several programs, including an after-school care program for kids. To learn more, or if you're interested in volunteering, head to WSFLTV.com. Every week on The Rebound, we've been highlighting communities in South Florida. We know there are so many reasons why we love to call this place home, from the gorgeous water views to the cultural diversity and sense of community. Tonight, we leave you with Robert Egger in North Miami.
I've lived in North Miami my whole life. It's gone really nice. It's gone down a little bit, then it's really come back really nice over the last couple of years. So it's nice to see that. Biscayne Boulevard at one point had a lot of empty buildings. Now it's all been really built back up. Nice new buildings and businesses. So it's been really nice to see it turn around over the years. There's some local restaurants around here that we'll go to. Casa Mia in North Miami, Bagel Bar in North Miami. I've been here for a long time and grown up going to them as well.
As large as it is, it's still everyone knows everybody. You know, a lot of people still live here since they were kids, or their parents still own the houses that the kids grew up in, and that sense of community there is still there, which is nice.